guys. Welcome to Soulful Living Miniseries, where you bring your drama and your trauma to the table and we deal with it. Today, we are wrapping up on talking about trauma. And today we want to talk about how do we break the cycle. So we did a couple of episodes on what it was, how it affects us. So today I want to talk about how to break the cycle of trauma. How do I really get rid of my trauma and be able to be effective in my life overall? And how do I make sure that the next generation behind me isn't affected by my mess? So I often talk about how my mess was my message or is my message. And people don't understand that your mess can be the very stepping stones that the next generation can stand on. Everything that you went through in your life was for a purpose. And the first thing I need you to embrace about breaking a cycle is, and I know you don't want to hear it, but it was necessary. Everything that occurred in your life, God is so infinite in his wisdom that it was necessary for your journey, for who you are today. And if it could have been any other way, it would have been another way. But because of who you are and what you bring to the table and how valuable you are to the kingdom at large, the enemy knew who you were going to be long before you knew who you were going to be. And so when I talk about my stories, I think about that the enemy knew long before who I was, all the places he needed to attack in my life to keep me from being my authentic self as long as possible. And that's his whole goal, was to keep me from being who I am as long as possible. I think about one of my sons that, and y'all know, for those of you guys who've been following me for a while, I have 5 children, 4 boys and a daughter. And I think about one of my sons that when I was bringing him home from the hospital, literally my car did a 360 in bringing him home into the car seat, brand new coming home. And I'm driving him home and my car does a full 360 in the middle of the road with this child. I look over at him, not knowing who he was, for real, for real. And I was young back in the day and things like that. But I think about the enemy knows who you are. And so they attack you even from the womb, try to attack you from the womb to keep you from even making it out here. Then when you get here, he try to attack you in your babyhood, and then in your childhood, and then in your teen, and then he's swinging on you long before you even know what's happening. So I want to encourage you today and let you know that the things that have occurred in your life, it was built in the plan because God already knew that the enemy was going to attack you from day one. So for those of you that have been through a lot of trauma, a lot of drama, I just want to encourage you today and tell you that it was necessary for who you are today. And we're going to use nothing wasted, nothing lost. None of your journey is going to be wasted. None of your journey is going. I feel the anointing up in here. I'm not trying to have church, but y'all, I'm about to have some. I'm about to have some church where I'm trying to be your therapist for real. For real, I said that, and I felt the Holy Ghost come up on me really strong. But nothing wasted and nothing lost, y'all. That means that your mess, everything you went through, is going to be impactful for your journey and the people that are going to be affected by your life. If you're a person that really went through a messy situation, 2 things. Either you are the matrix, in other words, you're the firstborn, and that you were the sacrificial lamb that had to go through to carry everybody else through, or you are the person that carries the anointing like Joseph for your whole family, for communities. You're the person that is necessary. You are a key element to everything that needs to be operational. That's why you got attacked as a child. That's why you went through the stuff that you went through. That's why you had to be spinning around on a 360 in the middle of the road. You are the person that carries your generation. I'm telling you what I know. I ain't telling you what I heard. You are that person that is going to carry your mama, your cousin, the family. You probably are that person carrying them right now. And you are probably the person that everybody said is the black sheep or the worst one. I remember, I'm telling you, tell y'all, 4 babies by the time I was 21. Every time I got pregnant, it's like, she pregnant again, she pregnant again, she pregnant again. But to God be the glory, he used all my mess and said, you're the one that I'm going to choose, that I'm going to use like this. It doesn't mean that everybody else is not being used, but God said, I'm going to use you like this. You're going to be the one that breaks the cycle for this family. So I just want to encourage you on today. You are the person that has been chosen to take us over to the promised land. You are the person that God has used, that generations are on your back, that people are coming up behind you. The Bible talks about the blessings going 7 generations up. That means the work that you are doing and the things you had to go through will affect 7 generations. That's why you had to go through that mess. That's why you went through everything that you went through. That's why you got treated like that. That's why you got handled like that. That is why. You want to know why did this happen to me? It is because of the anointing that is up on your life and what you hold inside of you. The enemy knew long before you even got here that you held something in you that was going to carry 7 generations. That's why you got hit the way you did. The devil wasn't hitting you first. The devil was hitting you back because he already saw the end of what your story looked like. So he said, let me swing on him or her before they have an opportunity to be able to make an impact. If I can keep them bound for a long time, if I can keep their mind bound, if I can keep their heart down, if I can keep with anger and bitterness and hatred, they won't love people because love covers a multitude. Love covers you. Love allows you to forgive. Love allows you to keep moving. Love keeps the storyline going. When you start hating and have unforgiveness and thinking about your trauma and your drama, you freeze. And the enemy knew he wanted to freeze you up. So he wanted to have you in 3 spaces. He wanted you to be fighting people all the time without any rational thinking. He wanted you to freeze. He wanted you to run. He decided a long time ago he was going to put you in fight, flight, or freeze. So he said, I know what I can use against you. I can use trauma on your life. And that trauma is going to show up like a villain in your face every time you try to move forward until somebody tells you how to break the cycle. So guess what? Us going to learn how to break the cycle today. The cycle. I remember this guy told me, his name was Jerome. True story. Sandersville, Georgia. Sandersville is really Sandersville, but I call it Sandersville, Georgia. That's the spot I went to from Detroit, Michigan. I ended up in a little bitty country town called Sandersville, Georgia. And I promise you, it had 3 street lights, 1 high school, 2 middle schools, and 3 elementary schools. I forgot what the population was, but like a little bitty country town in the middle of nowhere with red dirt. And this guy comes to my house, and I tell y'all I believe in angels. And I believe he was one of the angels assigned to my life. And he comes to my house. I promise he drove probably about 40 miles to my house to clean my car. And so detail my car. So when he gets there, he says to me, you know the Lord will succor you. He was talking country. I said, huh? He said, the Lord will succor you. I said, what do you mean? He said, if you don't get it right the first time, you gonna go around the cycle again. And I said, okay. And he said, you gotta learn how to come out the cycle so you can keep on moving. And I stood there listening to him as he was talking to me. I'm looking like this, y'all, just listening to him. He said, you gotta learn how to come out the cycle. Because if you don't come out the cycle, you're gonna be spinning around a long time. I was young, about 21 years old by this time, 22. But I never will forget him telling me about the Lord cycling me. And so then my prayer has been, Lord, get me out of this cycle. When I'm in a messy situation, get me out of it. Tell me how to get off this merry-go-round. And so as we're talking today about getting off the merry-go-round of trauma. So trauma shows up every day, all day, in so many different spaces. And we see it by sleeping in too much, being disconnected from people. You know that trauma even shows up in your finances. Like you can overspend, or you can underspend, or you cannot ask people for what your value is because somebody told you you wasn't valuable enough. And so guess what? When you doing business, you won't even tell people, nah, you're gonna have to pay me $100 for that. You charge, give me $10, give me $5, but you really are worth $100. But your trauma says asking for $5. And I want you to know that you are valuable. You're valuable. And so when you think about like getting outside of your trauma, the first thing you got to do is name your pattern. Like, what do you keep doing on repeat that's messing you up? What kind of relationships do you have with people, money? Like, there's actually a real relationship with money, y'all. Like, are you the kind of person that hold on to it? And so you got a lot of money saved away, but you won't even buy yourself, a new coat. You know, like you need a coat, but you won't buy a coat. Or you need a car, and you got money in the bank, but you won't buy yourself a car. But you got enough money to buy a car. Like, what's the relationship? Or why are you holding on to money? What's the relationship with people? Like, when you get into relationships with people, do you give yourself permission? Y'all hear me say that all the time. Give yourself permission to be vulnerable. Like, you can't say, oh, this person hurt me, that person hurt me, or I got cheated on, or got mistreated. People always handle me. So the next people you meet, you're not authentic with them. You're not vulnerable with them. Like, you got to give yourself permission to be vulnerable around people so you can be your authentic self. Like, what patterns do you keep doing? Are you the kind of person where you keep getting a house, losing a house, getting a house, losing a house? You know, do you have a relationship where you have your relationship with people and it lasts for like 8 months, 9 months, and you break up with them? Like, that's trauma because you haven't had relationships that were effective, so you break up with people on purpose. Like, that is your trauma. What is your pattern? I want you to think about that for a second, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. Get some paper and pencil and come back in 2 seconds. All right, guys, you got your paper and pencil. So we're going to work some things out now. So you got your paper and pencil. And moving forward, when you sit down in front of me, bring some paper and pencil. I'm actually giving you therapeutic approaches that I use with my clients. The things that I'm teaching you are actually things that we do in session. So that's why I said, go grab you some paper and some pencil so you can write some of this stuff down. So now, you're going to identify your patterns. What are the patterns, the things that you keep doing on repeat? When you get upset, what's your default? Do you go to bed? Do you quit jobs? Do you throw everybody overboard? Like, what's your particular default method that you do? What is the pattern that keeps showing up in your life? So write that down. And these exercises, I want you to actually journal this stuff out. Like, when we hang up and y'all go and I see you next week, when we come back to the table, I'm going to say, did you do your homework assignment? All right. The next thing is, like, we got to find the root of why you keep doing that. So if you have an issue, say, with money, like you hold on to money or you never have enough of it, what's up with that? Like, you're super intelligent. You probably one of the smartest people I know. Why don't you have enough money? Why don't you go to school? Why don't you get a second job? Why don't you charge for the services that you charge? Like, you're smart. Why don't you? Like, what's up with that? Do you not feel worthy to tell people, hey, I'm going to let you come in here and I'm going to give you this and you're going to pay me this amount of money? Do you not feel worthy to go to school? Do you like, why are you in that relationship with that person who's dogging you out, treating you like that? Why? Do you not feel like you can get anybody else? Like, I want you to ask yourself real why questions because you are super smart. So there's nothing up here that I'm saying that you're like having this, oh wow, I never heard that before. You did hear this before. You know that you're smart, you're pretty, and you need a second job if your finances are tight. You know, if you can't get your light bill paid, you know how to call the people and set it up on the, the thing where they set it up on the payment plan, but you don't. Why? What is that about? So I want you to ask yourself a real why question. Why am I doing this? And then I want you to choose 3 habits that you're going to do as a result of like making sure that you fix it. Like, and I keep using the word, give yourself permission to fix it. You can say, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of being in these relationships. I'm tired of not having what I need. I'm tired of looking this way. I'm tired of not having enough of this. I'm tired. Whatever it is that you're tired of, it's okay for you to say it and for you to say, today is the day I'm gonna fix this. Give yourself permission to fix your problem. And a lot of times, we don't give ourselves permission to do that. I remember when I moved into a house that we had purchased, and I didn't feel worthy enough to be in the house. And I literally, y'all, this is true. I literally slept on a blow up mattress. Instead of getting in the bed, I slept on a blow up mattress for about, I don't know, 6 weeks because I couldn't believe that this was my home. I didn't feel worthy to be in the house. And I had to get over that it was my home. I had to get over it. Like I had to tell myself, wait a minute, okay, you've gone to school, you've been in the military, and you use your GI Bill or the VA loan or whatever it is. I had to talk myself into being worthy to sleep in this home. Seriously. I mean, that's what trauma does to you. It'll make you say you're not even worthy to have this. And so if you're looking at your problems and identifying the roots of the things that are going on with you, you got to look at like, why like I couldn't figure out like why don't I lay in the bed? And I had to say, you don't feel worthy to be here. And I had to tell myself, you are worthy to be here, sweetheart. And then I had to tell myself, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you deserve this. And I need you to do that for yourself too. I need you to tell yourself, you've done the work. You deserved this quality of living. You deserve this relationship. You deserve this home. You deserve this job. You deserve this business. You've put the time and you put the work in, and don't sabotage yourself. And that's what happens with a lot of time with trauma. People end up sabotaging themselves because they don't feel worthy to be there. But I want you to use those I am statements too to say, I am, and whatever it is, you are worthy of that. So getting support, I want you to look at, we've already talked about the different levels of support and things like that. But if you don't know how to do something, or this area is new for you, there is nothing wrong with you going and sitting at somebody's feet and saying, can you teach me something? Like, get it as you elevate and go from one level of success to the next level of success. You can expect it when you get, I call it a glory level, really. It's like a triangle. And so you go from glory to glory, or level to level, or the greatest version of yourself, whatever you want to call it. But the point is that as you're growing from one level to the next level, you don't know what to do at that level. You knew what to do at this level. So now you need help at that level. So every level you go to, you need a new person to teach you something. So you should always, as you're growing and you grow into your next pyramid of success, you want somebody to teach you something. You need to be sitting there. You don't know the answers. And it's okay for you to say, I don't know. Can you teach me something? We talk about breaking the cycle, guys. Breaking the cycle. You get somebody that can tell you something that you don't know how to do. You need somebody with more experience. You need to be able to look at somebody, and we call it learning by proxy. That means that I should be able to sit next to you and see what you're doing and do it. And the sooner I can look at you and see what you did and fix my life because I can see what you did, the better. So that's what you want to do. You want to be able to learn and acclimate. It's called acclimation. You want to like acclimation, assimilation, by proxy, whatever the word you want to use. It just means I looked at you, I saw what you had on, and I said, I'm going to buy that outfit. I looked at you, I saw that you were writing down notes when you were taking in the classroom. I'm taking notes now. I saw you recording instead of using a notebook. I'm doing that. You ain't got to tell me. Let me see it. And then I immediately implement it. That's what a lot of people don't do. They don't use immediacy. Immediacy is as soon as you see it, implement it. As soon as you create it, put it in the cycle. I was working with somebody yesterday and they were creating these really cute keychains and things like that. So I went home and laid down and I thought about where could we put these keychains at and things of that nature. As soon as you see it, implement, execute, execute, execute. Remember that. Think about it, execute it, because all you can do is fail. That's it. The worst thing that can happen is it don't work. So while you spinning around making circles and maybe this and maybe that, just implement. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But just implement. I also want you to think about your triggers. We talked about that earlier, identifying your triggers. The key word for identifying your trigger is when you feel any kind of way, mad, sad, glad, or afraid. Those are the four core emotions: mad, sad, glad, or afraid. When you feel one of those emotions, your emotions guide you. They tell you something. So when you feel one of those emotions, mad, sad, glad, or afraid, ask yourself, what did I just think about that made me think? What happened 30 seconds before I felt this intense emotion of mad, sad, glad, or afraid? Identify. That's how you identify what is a trigger. And let me use the word trigger. Triggers don't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Triggers can be a good thing. Just like stress. Stress is not necessarily a bad thing. Stress can be a good thing. So there is good stress. There are good triggers. Like what is a trigger? What's implementing? What made me, when we first started on, what made me get my shout on for, like, go right in? I said I felt the anointed. When I use that phrase, nothing wasted, nothing lost, that means every moment that I get up here and get on this podcast, everything God ain't wasting no time with us, y'all. And I just got excited when I thought about that God is going to use every piece of my life, my drama, my future, people, situations, every outfit, every pair of shoes, every crumb. He ain't wasted nothing about my life. It fully excited me. That was a trigger for me, getting amped up on this thing. It triggered me to go in. So I want you to be able to identify your triggers, and triggers are good and bad. So just remember that. And then I want you to also use the techniques. We talked about breathing techniques. So brain and heart cohesion. So your brain and your heart have the same cells in them, y'all. Yes. The cells in your brain and the cells in your heart have identical cells on them. And so, when you say you have that gut feeling, you say, I got a gut feeling about this or that, what actually is happening is you have brain cells in your heart, and they can feel the space. They can feel, they're thinking. Your heart is literally thinking and feeling the space, and you have intuition or gut feelings, but it's really because of that. The way that you collaborate with those two things, you bring those two together, we call it brain and heart cohesion, is deep breathing. Looks like this. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Blow it out. Deep breath in. Blow it out. Do it with me, y'all. Do this with me. Really, literally do it with me. Deep breath in. Blow it out. One last time. Deep breath in. Blow it out. How you feel? That's some good stuff. I know. So it's called brain and heart cohesion, and it instantly brings your heart waves, because they're waving like this at first, right? All over the place. And then when you do that, it brings them together. So they're now doing this together. And that's why you feel the way that you do. I call it a quick drive-by. You can do that anywhere. It's 5 seconds in, hold for 5 seconds, 5 seconds out, 5 times. 5 seconds in, hold for 5 seconds, 5 seconds out, 5 times. And it gets your brain and your heart on the same electrical wave impulse. Also, I want you to think about grounding techniques. So grounding techniques are, I'm going with that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. Find 5 things, and you're going to use all 5 senses. So you're going to find 5 things you can look at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 things you can touch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can, whatever the other sense is, and then whatever the last sense is. I can't call them off the top of my head, but you get the point I'm trying to make. So you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one would be taste. So it might be like me sipping on some water as the last thing that I'm doing. So, and that's a grounding technique, and what it does, it actually resets the brain too. So these are all techniques to help you to reset in the moment of aggression, anger, frustration, and even depression. Remember, trauma shows up so many ways. It shows up in aggressiveness, anxiety, PTSD, post-stress traumatic, disorder. That disorder is like trauma based. And so you need these techniques to be able to ground you throughout the day. And then making sure that you have clear boundaries and clear limits. There is nothing wrong with you setting up boundaries with people, speaking up for yourself and telling people this is what you need so that you can feel better about yourself. Nothing wrong with that. So don't be afraid to have a voice. Don't be afraid to tell people no. Don't be afraid to tell people not right now. One of the biggest phrases that I learned, my mentor taught me this, is let me think about it. That was one of the biggest phrases that she, instead of me just automatically, impulsively going in and saying, yes, I'll do it, just to say, let me think about it. I'll get back with you. And then that way it sets clear boundaries, it's limits. I have a chance to think about the next thing that I want to say to the person before I say it. Like, let me think about it. Take some time to think through part A, part B, the consequences, the barriers to success, who I need for success. So all the things we've talked about previously, take time to think about it. If you're making decisions and you haven't had a chance to think about it and it's moving based on fear, I remember I used to parent in fear. I had 4 African American males, and my thought was I did not want the police to get my sons. So I would always parent them from that perspective of fear. Like, I want you to break the cycle of doing fear-based things. I want you to break the cycle of not being able to think things through. Strategically thinking. Go 7 steps up. If you can't think out something 7 steps up, you haven't thought it all the way through. So I need you to use your executive function. Give yourself permission to sit down and think. Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, what comes next? Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, what could happen? This could happen and that could happen. Okay, now what? Okay, I'm going to do this if this happens. I'm going to do this if this happens. I want you to get in the habit of not just talking. Just think first and tell the person, let me think about it. I want you to give yourself permission to set boundaries for people who do not value you, do not validate that who you are, who you say you are. I want you to give clear. If you got circles around you of people that do not honor you, do not love you, do not take care of you, do not pour into you, you want to get rid of that circle. Remember, it's nothing wrong with having a mentor that's feeding you and telling you right from wrong, but you don't need nobody in your ear, self-esteem, that is feeding anything to you outside of you are wonderful, you are great, you are magnificent. Your mentor is the one that's going to say to you, this, and this is wrong. But you don't need everybody in your ear telling you what's wrong. You got somebody for that. So remember that. You only need one or two good people that you can go and tell the truth, the whole truth, and they can say, wrong. But everybody else around you, they need to be clapping their hands. Look, you got 24 hours in a day. You don't need nobody in your ear that is unassigned to your life to tell you what you're doing wrong. I don't need you for that. I got this mentor over here that I'm going to go to him and tell him all about my life. But I don't need you to tell me what you think about my hair, my clothes, my shoes. If I got this outfit on today, just go with it. This what I'm doing. I'm good with it. When I get to my mentor, she going to say, Miss Stacy, true story. Miss Stacy, why you got that jacket on? I said, I'm feeling flavorful today. I'm feeling fabulous and flavorful. She said, I know you are, but take that jacket off and just leave that part on right there. And I say, yes, ma'am. And I take the little jacket off and we go from there. So I got somebody for that. So you don't need anybody in your ear trying to regulate what you're doing in your life. You have an assigned person in your life for that. That's that whole setting clear boundaries and clear expectations. I hope that this information has helped you to retool your life and given you some tools and filled up your mind, which is your soul, for a greater living. We will see you next time on Soulful Living Mini-Series, where you bringing your drama and trauma to the table. We'll see you next time.
SKST Radio, street grind entertainment. Beats by bro, yeah, we bring the flavor and the payment.